it's more important for me to invest in that. So my customer has a great experience. So they keep coming back and spending money with me versus dropping it on logos and photo shoots. Because while those things do all play a role, when you got to measure, right? When you're talking apples to apples, you got to reinvest in where you know the money going to come back. And what I'm seeing and what I'm envisioning is this work will pay off when the partners come to play. Hey you, welcome to Shades of Content, a show that teaches entrepreneurs how to effectively use content to market their business and stay content while doing it. I'm your host, Patrice, a wife, a mom of 3, and a 15-year public relations and marketing professional who decided to open a brick and mortar content studio 4 years ago. And I honestly haven't looked back since. Join me as I share my experiences and the experiences of other entrepreneurs who, like me, are navigating this maze of owning a business, running a family, and trying to stay sane and healthy while doing it. I'll tell you, it's an amazingly challenging journey, but I honestly wouldn't have it any other way. See you soon. This episode is brought to you by Black Girl Holidays, the content planner and calendar that highlights Black women, Black girl magic 24/7, 365. And you guys, all new for 2022, Black Girl Holidays is not only a calendar like it was before, but it's also a full planner, okay? Get your Black Girl Holidays content calendar or planner today by visiting www.blackgirlholidays.com and make sure you use that Shades of Content coupon code so you can get a percentage off. Again, blackgirlholidays.com, or just tap the link in the show notes, y'all. Greetings, contentpreneurs. That's like my new word. I think that's what I'm going to call you guys. Just so you know, I tried to trademark contentpreneur and it was a no-go, but I can still use it when I'm talking to you. So greetings, contentpreneurs. We are 2 weeks into 2022. I hope the first 2 weeks of the year have been amazing for you. They've been pretty good for me too. Things are rolling along. My husband and I just celebrated our wedding anniversary, which is always nice because we do away with the kids and we spend time with one another just relaxing. Because you need that if you want to be a content entrepreneur. I definitely feel like I'm at the end of that crazy end of year phase. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw that the day after Christmas, I posted a post. It was a picture of me, really cute picture, okay? But the caption was really what mattered because I was saying, like, the first sentence was, I am not resting. And typically on the day after Christmas, what do people do? They rest. But that wasn't the reality for me. And I was very stressed for the last 2 weeks of the year. And so I just talked about in that post, like how everybody was resting. I was seeing all these companies and CEOs post like, I gave my staff 2 weeks off. We are closed for 3 weeks. And then I even had people that I had been working with, right, for my business say, not answering emails until January 3rd. And a part of me was like, well, what you mean? We got work to do. But the other part of me thought, yo, I have more work to do because I am not at a point in my business where I can take 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off and things still run, right? And probably some of the people, some of you that are watching this or listening to this episode can agree with me. Like you are also in this space of you felt like you still had to work December 25th. 26, all the way up until January 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So if that's you, we see each other. I feel you. And I think I want to use that as just, like I said, motivation to keep working so that I can get my business to a place that I can take the whole month of December off. Y'all know that's my birthday month anyway. And so that was a very heavy feeling, having to get so much done as I was preparing for the rebrand and launching Black Girl Holidays and planning out 2022. I definitely, like I said, I'm out of that hectic, chaotic phase right now, and just really looking forward to what the rest of the month looks like. So along with it being the second week of 2022, we're also the second episode of 2022. The third episode of 2022. This is the third episode. The time, the weeks they just move. They move. I can't keep up. And I hope that this new focus, the new look, the new feel is resonating with you. As I had mentioned in the 2 weeks ago episode, that January 5th episode, I had 2 weeks to figure out what this new shades of content look like. And I didn't really get into it on January 1st episode because I knew that I wanted to talk about it specifically for this episode, hence the name, how I relaunched my brand or rebranded my podcast in 2 weeks, right? So I personally don't recommend cramming all this into 2 weeks, okay? With me being a 15-year PR, marketing, branding, communication professional, it's something that I do kind of with my eyes closed, but it wasn't something that I planned to do in 2 weeks. And the truth is that I had to wait, and I'll get into more of the process. I had to wait until I knew what the name was going to be. I didn't want to go into this whole rebrand plan 2 months out and then find out that the name that I wanted wasn't available. So that was probably the main piece of why I only had that limited time window to refresh what Shades of Content now is. All right, guys. So how did I totally rebrand this show in just 2 weeks? I have thought about it long and hard because really when you're in the middle of it, it is really like hard to think about all the steps, but I took some time, wrote down every single thing that I did, and here we are, right? So the first thing that I did was committed to a date. I knew probably November, maybe October, I feel like that's when me and my engineer were talking about kind of restructuring this whole thing. I knew that this podcast was going to change. Initially, like I said, I thought it was going to be like a name change and like this whole new thing. It wasn't all of that, but it was a change and there were so many moving parts. And I said, well, this is a perfect opportunity. We're going into the new year, cliche as it may be, use January 1st as the new launch for what we have going on. So I committed to the date, January 1st, 2022. And I'll also tell you that I committed to that date even when I wasn't really sure what the new focus would be. I was like, I don't care. We're going to still do it then. Okay. So that was the first thing I did. I committed to the date because once you say that, if you're like me, you can't go back. Even though I didn't announce it to anybody, it was what I knew was going to happen. And I don't like letting myself down. So I committed to a date first. I then had a long talk with my attorney, which I mentioned in that first January 1 episode, which is linked in the show notes. So if you didn't get a chance to listen to that, we're brand new episode, tap the link in the show notes because it's important to provide some context for what we're talking about here. Had a long talk with my attorney. It wasn't really a long talk. It wasn't arduous or anything because she's my friend and I love her. And when we get on the phone, we can just stay on the phone forever. But I had all these ideas in my head for what I wanted the name to be. And I remember sitting, full transparency here, this was probably the first week in December. It was before my birthday and I was in the bed. I had just taken an edible and I was like, it had kicked in and my creative juices were flowing. Okay. So I opened up my planner and I just wrote all these names down. I felt like there's a movie with a guy who's like writing on the board. I don't remember the name anyway, but I had all these names. And so I scheduled a consultation with my attorney, Rita, because that is how you have conversations. Sidebar, even if your professional vendors that you're working with are your friends, you still need to follow the process of however it is they do business. And I never expect my friends to do things for me for free. Okay? That's a little sidebar for you. Anyway, so I scheduled a consultation. I had sent her an email with my ideas, scheduled the consultation. We had the consultation and she said, Patrice, based on all the names you gave me, these work. She said, based on all the names that you gave me, these don't work. And these could work, but it's going to take a lot more work on your end. And she said, really, if you keep the name Shades of Content, that's the best thing for you for multiple reasons. I had already been using the name for almost 2 years. So when it is time to trademark, I can show that it has been being used. It's mine anyway. There were no other competitors or people wanting to use that group of names together, Shades of Content, group of words together. And I already had the domain. I already had the social media names. Like it was already mine. So it's like, why not? And then in that conversation with her, she gave me some more insight. She told me that the other names that I wanted to use for the show to trademark, while I couldn't trademark them as the new name show, I could still use them in like branding, merchandise, all those things. So that was a check. she had also said, she gave me some more ideas about the word shades. So, and we'll get into this a little more, but when I had first started this show, shades meant colors, right? Brown, all different shades of Black women, essentially. That is still partially true. When you look at the logo, you see the word shades is in different colors, right? Different shades of brown. But that also means, as I said in that January 1st episode, it can mean the shades of contentment, right? What does being content mean to you? That's gonna vary. That's gonna have different levels. It means the different types of business owners that listen to this show. It's the mompreneurs. It's the content creators who are building businesses. It's all of those things. So shades can encompass so many or so much. And that consultation with my attorney was vital because she helped me see those other little intricacies that I hadn't realized before. All right, so the third thing that I did was I discussed it with my engineer, Ty, who is amazing. And we just kind of talked through what it would look like and what the new focus would be, because I wanted to make sure he was on board. He is someone who has been with me from day one with this podcast, literally day one. And so the plan is to have him with me as we go on episode 300, on and on and on. And so I wanted to make sure he was really clear on what the focus was too, because, excuse me, with the new focus comes maybe some different things that he's going to have to do, right? So as it was, we would just come in, we would record the audio, and I would go home. He would send it back to me, done. Now that we have a new focus, new name, new things, we've had to record new intros, new outros. He's going to have to be filling in more, commercial segments. So it looks different for him as well. And so it was really important that I had a conversation with him as my team member, as well as bringing in other members of the team, right? So now we're going to be working with videographers. You are watching this episode in addition to listening to it. Again, taking things to the next level. I can't do any of this by myself. I don't want to do it by myself, right? I just want to come here and talk. That's what I like doing. So number 3, definitely have the conversation with your team once you know what the legal and what the name and all that stuff is going to be. Catering to small businesses across the world, Logo Nerds is like the best choice to have your custom logo created. How do I know, guys? Because I've literally been using this company for probably 7 or 8 years, and I've had them create countless logos for all my different business ideas for different client businesses, as well as them actually correcting logos that weren't done the right way. And they even did the logo for the new Shades of Content brand. So definitely check them out if you're looking for an affordable logo. The process is super simple. You go to the website via the link in the show notes. You fill out their questionnaire and tell them all about your brand vision. And then they send a custom logo back to you. They give you like either 3 to 6 different options depending on the package that you get. And you can then have unlimited edits. And that's the kicker, right? Because you can work with different graphic designers. And of course, they'll charge you their rates, whatever those are, but then you'll have to like only get 2 edits or 5 rounds of edits. With Logo Nerds, you can edit that thing until you can't edit it no more. You can get it perfect. So definitely click the link in the show notes to get access to Logo Nerds and like have a logo created. Even if you don't need one, if you have an idea in your head that you kind of want to bring to fruition, sometimes you need that look, that brand to bring it all together. And for $27, y'all, you can't beat it, okay? So definitely tap the link in the show notes to start your logo and your branding today. Number 4, I went to logonerds.com. There's a link in the show notes to have a logo created. They have 2 options, a $27 option and a $47 option. I think I got the $47 option. I filled out their questionnaire, told them the name, and they sent it back to me within like 3 days. And I was like, I kept checking the website to see if they had sent the logo concepts back because I was really excited to see what they came up with. I did have some ideas. I sketched out a logo. And one thing about me is once I have the idea, once it comes to me and once I say this is it, God really just gives me everything. So I sat down at my desk, I sketched out the logo. There's a picture of it on my Instagram page. And then they brought it to life, right? And then when I went back for all the different edit rounds, I had these other ideas and they made all those happen. And then I was able to select the one that made the most sense, which is the one that you see today. So the fifth step was to create a podcast graphic in Canva. Now, I ain't new to Canva, y'all. I'm a Canva star, okay? I pay for the pro account. I think it might be like $14 a month. But with Canva, I save so much money and time and all the things because I don't have to depend on a graphic designer. Now, I'll say this. You do need graphic designers for certain things, 100%. But because, like I said, I have that marketing, that communications eye, that experience, I'm able to actually go into Canva and take a template and make it what I need it to be and make it look perfect, like a graphic designer did it. So I went to Canva. I already have the paid account, so I'm paying every month for it anyway. And I created the new podcast box graphic. I don't even know what you call it. I did that myself. And I looked at other podcasts that I like and other podcasts that caught my eye to create that. So you'll notice the first podcast graphic that we used was just the old logo and Camp Spaces logo and some little icons for like YouTube, phone, whatever. I knew that had to go away, and I had done a photo shoot in November, pulled one of those pictures and put it as my photo, right? So when people see that, they can connect on multiple levels. She's a woman, she's Black, people can connect to that, even like from what I have on in that picture. I have a little fly outfit. So if you see that, that is going to make you more likely tap that podcast and listen than if it's just the old logo. And I took some elements from other podcast graphics. So the little bubbles, the little colors of bubbles, I added those. And I decided to use a light blue as the background. Number one, because light blue, it pops when you're looking at it on your phone. But also the sky and clouds, that's just something that always like makes me feel really good. It's just like new, fresh air. And so I wanted to make sure I had blue in there as well. So the color palette changed a little bit, but I'm really happy with how it came out. And I did it all on Canva. It took me maybe 10 minutes. I showed it to my son. He loved it, and we made it happen. So that was number 5. Number 6 was to find a designer, a graphic designer, so you need them, on Fiverr, okay? There's a link in the show notes. So Fiverr, Fiverr, is a marketplace of a bunch of people who can do great things. I typically use Fiverr when I need something graphically done in a quick turnaround. And I found a gentleman in India. A lot of the contractors or workers or vendors on Fiverr are located overseas, which is why the price point is so low. No, I don't believe in cheap labor. No, I don't believe in not supporting my homies around here. But when you want a deadline and you have a limited budget, you got to make it do what it do. And that's what I did. So went to Fiverr and actually had used someone that I used before. And I said, I need 5 social media graphics. And they already had a gig. They created 5 social media graphics for $10. Again, let me tell you that. 5 social media graphics for the podcast for $10. And if you follow Shades of Content on Instagram, you'll see those graphics. They look great. I gave him my I gave him the podcast box. I need to figure out what the name of that is. I don't know. The podcast icon. I sent him that, and he took it from there. He had the colors, he had the vibe, he had the fonts, and he created those 5 countdown graphics, now live and about me. He created all of that for $10. Once you added tax and once I give him a tip, it came up to be like $15. That's nothing. So that was step 6. Step 7 was updating the website myself because I didn't have time to create this whole new beautiful website. But that is coming. I really do want to update the Shades of Content website. I now have a vision for what it should be. I have the brand guidelines and the template. So that is coming. I think once the partnership dollars come in, we'll have some money that we can reinvest in updating the website. But I did it myself. Just changed some of the colors around, added the new icon, and that was pretty easy. I remember doing it at night on December 28th, and I was very stressed. I think this was also the same night that I text my videographer, Andre, last minute, like, yo, I need a video. Can we make this happen? Thank God for an amazing team, right? We talked about that already. But yeah, so there's no bells and whistles on the website. I did it myself. I use Squarespace. I love it. But when you go there, you can find out what the show's about. You can listen to all the episodes and you can contact me. And at this point, that's all that matters. And there's a link to the YouTube so you can watch the videos as well. And then finally, I scheduled some emails and social media posts to queue up all the newness. So I actually hadn't planned to do this before, but I had listened to a recent episode of Side Hustle Pro. Y'all are gonna hear me, if you're new to this, you're gonna hear me talk about Side Hustle Pro, Social Proof Podcast, I Am Athlete. Those are like Poor Minds, Good Moms, Bad Choices. These are the podcasts that I listen to every week. I love these people. I feel like I know them, and I've learned so much from them about the whole podcasting game. So I listened to that episode that Nikayla did, and one of the things she said when she launched her podcast was she did a countdown. So she did social media graphics, 5 days, 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, and she also sent emails to her list letting them know that the podcast was brand new or that it was coming up. And then I believe she sent another one once the new show launched, and I did the same thing. So if you're on the email list, you saw those emails. Did all of that in 2 weeks. And I'll tell you, the week after Christmas was stressful. The first 2 weeks, so the 2 weeks that I did this whole rebrand, the first week we were preparing for Christmas, right? So both of my kids were home because all of my kids were home. One was on some winter break. One was home because his school closed for COVID. And the other one was home, but she was doing virtual learning because of COVID. So that was the first week, and I had to shop for Christmas and cook and all that stuff. And then Christmas came on Saturday, and then the week between Christmas and New Year's was go time. And that was stressful, but we got it done. As I said earlier in the episode, no longer, I don't feel like I'm in this rat race of getting it done because it's out. You see what this new show is, you feel it. I hope you understand it. If not, let's talk about it. And now I'm really just focusing on how do I optimize the new look, the new focus, the new feel, the visuals, the new everything? How do I optimize that to bring in partners that can support this effort? I've committed to doing it. I've said that many times before, and I'm going to keep doing it. And I know that there's so many brands out there that I patronize, for one, but also that I know would want to talk directly to you all. So I just have to figure that out. If you're a pro at bringing in sponsor dollars for shows and for media outlets, let me know. I would love to talk to you. Take those tips and use them if you want to do a budget-friendly rebrand. Saving money is always the goal for me. Being a small business owner who has kids and all the things, this is gonna sound messed up, but I'd rather spend my money on vacations and stuff. Not to say that I would pick a vacation over my business, because y'all know I done invested a lot in this business. But with Christmas just happening, the funds weren't there to spend thousands of dollars on a rebrand. That was not my reality. And I'll be honest, I don't know if I ever want that to be my reality. Transparency moment, I just had to drop $1,500 to get this whole space repainted, right? Because it's more important for me to invest in that, so my customer has a great experience, so they keep coming back and spending money with me versus dropping it on logos and photo shoots. Because while those things do all play a role, when you got to measure, right? When you're talking apples to apples, you got to reinvest in where you know the money going to come back. And what I'm seeing and what I'm envisioning is this work will pay off when the partners come to play. So if you are planning a rebrand, like I said, I hope this episode helps you. There are links to most of the websites and resources that I've used in the show notes. Shoot me a DM on Instagram or an email if you end up using this 10-step or 8-step method. Let me know. I would really love to know if this list helped, if the resources helped. That is it for this week, you guys. Stay focused, stay creative, but most of all, find your place of contentment and honor it. It's so important. While feeling stressed out as an entrepreneur is normal and it's often unpredictable, you don't have to be a stressed out entrepreneur. I'm gonna say that one more time because that was a bar. Wow, being stressed out as an entrepreneur is normal and sometimes unpredictable. You don't have to be a stressed out entrepreneur. That just means you don't have to live in that all the time. Yeah, you're gonna feel it sometimes, but feel it, move on, find that place of contentment, and keep moving, keep growing, keep learning, keep taking in content like this. As always, I am always happy to be here. See you next week. Thank you so much for listening. Have an amazing weekend. All right, now y'all, don't forget to connect with Shades of Content on Instagram at Shades of Content and with me, Patrice Camo, at Patrice Camo. And also be sure to rate this show, leave a review, and subscribe because that's actually the only way that we're gonna grow. I'll see you next week.